You are now listening to the Warp World Podcast. Boom shakalaka.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Warp World Podcast, episode 176, or as Cliffy likes to call it, episode 169 plus 7. Cliffy's name being mentioned, I might as well introduce him as our guest host this week. Cliffy, welcome to the show.
Yo, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And Cliffy, would you do me the honor of introducing the co-host to myself, xwater, over in the lovely corner up there?
Yeah. Coming in, weighing 5'3", at dressed in all red. Our good friend Jaku. How are you doing today, Jaku?
Yay!
Hey, I'm doing all right. Day started off pretty good and then kind of had some interesting turns, but overall, it's doing all right.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll cover some of that during this show. You know, we'll get into some of those interesting turns all about and around. But
Got time.
Yeah, but for now, let's catch, even though we've been doing this through the banter and through the pre-show, let's catch up, let's chat, let's talk a little bit. I just kind of remembered this now when you did that intro for Jaku, the whole weighing in it. Did either of you watch the Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. fight this weekend?
Yes, I sure did.
Man,
I did not.
those fights were every fight except for the Jake Paul and Robinson fight were awesome. Like super fun to watch, especially the one before Paul and Robinson, because it was like the one fight of the evening that was like a really good fight, but it wasn't like, you could tell they were both like trying to win, where Tyson and Jones were obviously like trying to like walk away not heavily injured as 50-ish year old men.
I got a hard disagree with you. I think the Jake Paul fight was like the most entertaining fight of all of them.
It was entertaining. It was really funny, but it was over quickly, and like
Sure.
such a contrast from every other fight when you watch it. Like
100%. I'm not saying it was a good fight by any means. It
okay,
was, like,
yeah, most
technically skilled.
entertaining though.
I'm just saying it's like when you go, it's if you've ever gone to like a horse race or like a NASCAR or anything like that. A lot of those things not as cool unless you have a dog in the fight, right? Like if you know somebody who's participating, or you're aware of somebody, like from somebody who's not following boxing, I know both of those names.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
And like the Tyson fight was cool to watch because like obviously it's Tyson getting back in the ring, and like
Yeah.
it wasn't a great battle, but like it was cool to see him in the ring and moving around and doing stuff. But like, man, it was just like I was just sitting there watching the Nate Robinson Jake Paul fight, and I was just like, what is happening right now? Is this like real life?
Dude, yeah,
It was like crazy.
It felt almost like at some points watching the first few minutes of like one of those world star fights, but between two people who aren't that great at fighting. Like,
Oh yeah, no, it was
the way
it was
Robinson charged in was like so wild and reckless, and then he just got like, he was sprinting in and he got
he
slammed
wasn't
in the
boxing.
face.
He was trying to like WWE wrestle him.
Right?
Like
yeah, he was not
yeah.
boxing. Yeah, said it well.
Yeah.
Said it well.
Well, that's what happens.
Yeah, I really enjoyed watching Tyson's fight. I got myself hyped up for it because I was watching. I watched like a compilation of all of his knockouts beforehand, like all of the knockouts he had in his career, which is a lot. And like the dude was just on like literally unstoppable almost. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, seeing all those fights and then seeing him in the ring and seeing at 53, 55 how fast he still was, like that dude threw his arms out quick.
Regardless of how that fight looked, I still would not want to get in the ring with Tyson.
No.
You couldn't pay me enough.
No.
But
I'll do it.
I do have a question for you.
$20.
Would you participate, not against Tyson, but just in general, if they were like, yo, Mickey, we got, TwitchCon's coming up this year. We're coming back. We took a year off. We did GlitchCon. We're coming back strong. San Diego 2021.
What
We got
accent
a boxing
is this?
ring. We got, I don't know, somebody
You a
from
Boston promoter
like,
right now?
We're from Boston. We're throwing
From
it into
Boston.
San Diego. We got to get Mickey involved. And Mickey, we're getting a ring set up outside the San Diego Convention Center.
No,
Gotta have you
outside
in
the
there.
car park.
Yeah. Would you do it? Would you get into a boxing match with another like pseudo celebrity?
Yeah, absolutely. Give me if I have at least 6 to 8 months had
You
like
get 2
notice to
months.
prepare,
You get
like
2 months
to train.
notice. which is
So
double.
does
what
that
Twitch
matter to
normally
you, I
gives
guess?
notice for.
Yeah, I need adequate training. But I very
You get 2
much
months.
believe, like, I would change my lifestyle around heavily to prepare for this. I wouldn't want to embarrass myself. I'd sign up for a boxing gym. I'd start doing hella cardio, train the shit out of these legs, start learning some technique. I've actually had like a slight interest in learning and like studying boxing. So I would definitely be interested in that. And if it's like,
I could train you.
could you?
Yeah, I've played Punch Out and the guy running behind the bike. I could do that.
You have to box Sinister
I have to box Sinister. He's
and
got,
Zallard.
dude, Sinister's
Both at
got the
once?
reach and the height on me, but I think I got the mass on him.
Well, you also have the age. You'd be fine.
Yeah. I'm late 20s. I'm still doing, I'm still
Yeah.
in the 20s right now. So
Jaku, would you do it?
Yes,
That's
I'll
great.
fight
I
everyone
really-
now.
I feel like you got some like Jaku
I throw down
scheme
hands.
behind that. Yes, like you got some like, yes, I would throw him into a clinch and last out the clock, and there would be no danger, and I'd walk away a millionaire.
Well, I'd find some way to get like, I don't know, metal hands.
So you cheat.
No, I
I'm pretty
had
sure
a
there is a
surgery on my
rule in-
hands
You have
because
to
of
abide
arthritis.
by standard box, like the WBC, the World
Well,
Boxing Championship.
I'm sorry, Twitch. My hand
Rules.
was crushed by a machine, and they gave me metal hands. What
I'm
do you
just
want from me?
imagining that Jaku shows up day of. He's like, listen, I wish I could. I can't. But you know what? Next best thing, Jaku bot is going to fight in my spot, and he's controlled by Twitch chat. It's crazy. So we're just going to do that. You guys can use bits.
Can
and,
I want to fight
throw jabs.
Jakubot. I want to fight a chat controlled, like someone uses crowd control and they like put in 200 bits to do a left hook.
Yeah.
It's like 20 bits for a left jab, 30 bits for a right jab.
I would much rather fight Jakubot than fight Jaku.
Yeah,
I would feel
yeah.
bad fighting Jaku or anybody. Like I don't want to hurt my friends. But
It would-
I'll fight
yeah, you'd have
I'll fight
to-
Jakubot. I'll fight chat all day.
I wouldn't want to fight a friend, for sure not a friend. Like an acquaintance,
So who does
fine.
it got to be? It's got to be somebody that you don't know.
not
We could become
necessarily don't
enemies
know,
right
but we
before the
can't
fight.
like, you guys are dear friends of mine. I don't want to fight either of you, but like,
Sure.
I don't know if it's like fucking I ate your pie, for example. Like he's a fine guy. Like I know nothing about him. Him and I wouldn't consider us friends. Like we know
Dude.
of each other. I would fight.
You
I
all
ate
heard
your
it here
pie,
first.
yeah.
This is where the beef started. Mickey's calling out "I ate your pie"
I'm
on the
not,
Warp
dude,
World
listen,
podcast.
listen, I'm not acting like Jake Paul after that fight. I'm not about to sit here like that guy and be like, yo, Mayweather, where you at? But if, I'm just giving an example. Spike Vegeta, I wouldn't want to fight him. I feel like Spike Vegeta would bring out the crazy monster out.
Would you
and
fight Mitch?
I
Mitch
would
like
have
MFP Mitch?
Yeah.
No offense to Mitch, I feel like I just have the size advantage.
dude.
Oh,
I
for
want
sure. He's
I want
tiny.
Spike to
Yeah.
commentate it.
Oh yeah, dude. Spike commentating that fight? Yes, dude. Because I'm like 190-ish right now. For the fight, I would get
Wow.
down to like probably 170, 175. So whatever weight class that is the weight class I would want to compete in.
All right, so I got to get to your weight, huh?
Jaku, what part of the... I don't want to fight you. I don't want to fight my
I said we would
friends.
become enemies right before.
You
Well,
just got to make sure Jakubot weighs 190.
imagine the
That's
podcast the following week. It'd just be one of us gloating, the other one being like, fuck this show, man.
it.
Fucking
He's just
outta
like
here.
smiling the whole time.
Or we could tie a
Oh,
1-2 knockout simultaneously.
I wear drawers. I don't do
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, right. I win then.
Oh man.
That was
All
Roy,
right.
Roy Jones Jr. dropped that line after the fight, and it was the funniest thing in the world to me.
Yeah.
So we're saying TwitchCon 2021 boxing
Yeah.
match.
Boxing match.
right.
Yep. It's official.
yeah.
It has
can't-
officially been announced.
I don't think you could they could stream it because that's breaking TOS, but they could do a live event for sure.
Oh.
Wait, is boxing
we just put-
streaming? Or is,
Yeah,
is
it's a
boxing?
sport. It's a
I don't know,
sport.
man. You know how weird
can stream
TOS is,
sports.
dude.
Yeah.
Football is self-harm too. They stream football.
It's
I
not
know.
self-harm. It's self-harm if I do it to
Well,
myself. You're doing it to
Yeah.
me.
Sorry.
And I'm doing
Self
it
harm
to you.
was you making the
Well, no,
decision
no.
to get in the ring
Self-harm-
with
exchange of
Jakubot.
harm.
If you get into a ring with Mike Tyson, that's considered self-harm.
That's self harm, dude.
But if
Oh,
Mike
man.
Tyson, I don't know. Mike Tyson's got to be somewhat to blame in that situation.
Hey, you know what?
Nope.
I mean, I
He's
played
like a shark, man. You get into his tank, he's just gonna attack. It's in his nature.
I
But
played
how much money is he going to offer me for 50% is the real question.
Oh.
No one's betting for you.
No,
No
because
one would
you
take
said
that
Shark
bet.
Tank.
Oh,
I mean, I played Call of Duty with Mighty Mouse, a UFC fighter, several
true.
years back.
That's right. I remember that.
At TwitchCon. So I mean, they have celebrities come through to TwitchCon. They had Snoop Dogg. They had Dragon
See,
Force.
I wouldn't want to do UFC. I have no interest in doing the whole wrestling aspect, the grappling.
Sure.
I feel like boxing looks like a lot more fun to me because it's like you're just punching. There's a lot less to worry about.
Punches. Yeah, but I'm just
And a
saying,
little bit
like
of
you
biting.
never know.
Just
they
a
could.
little bit of biting.
Yeah, a little bit of biting every now and then.
Yeah,
it's
once every
happened.
20 years or so.
Yeah. Absolutely. Would you do it, Cliffy? Would you get in the ring at TwitchCon? You got a year to prepare.
I would, but it would there'd have to be two different scenarios, right? Like I would either it would have to be a spur of the moment thing and know that this was set up spur of the moment and that I'm not going against somebody who's been training. We'd have to be on like similar levels. So if they offered in that aspect, I'd be like, yeah, sure, let's do it. That's fine. And I'd have to know they weren't like a professional boxer, right? Like I'm not setting myself up for that. Or if they told me like now and they're like, we'll give you 10 months. Sure. Like, but I just I need to be on par. If they're going to be training, I'm going to be training.
Exactly.
If there's no training, sure, let's go.
I mean, we got 10 months right now, so let's do it. Let's just train as if it was official and then see where we're at and then decide to
if we're
fight
going to dedicate to that level of training, I'm lacing up the gloves.
What do you mean by that?
Like I'm not going to train without a fight.
Okay, so we're going to fight then.
Well,
All right.
it sounds like that's what we're saying.
You need an opponent though.
Well, it sounds like Jaku's kind of interested here. The week before, Jaku just needs to text me something like, your mom is a blank, and then we're enemies.
Text some beef, yeah.
Yeah, start some beef.
Yeah.
Yeah, easy peasy.
I'm great at that. Like, I've been roasting him all year, so it's just going to lead up to it. It's just going to be like, enough's enough, man. And, oh, man.
We got the final one, straw to break the camel's back. Be like, that's it. 1 week from now, San Diego, you and me, bud. They'll have like Blink 182 playing at the fucking little field, and we'll just be boxing in the middle of it. The ring will just be it'll be like a circle of people. We're going Rocky 5 with it.
All right. This is happening. Cliffy's
I'm glad that we made this happen. I'll ref it. Sure.
This is already one of my favorite episodes, and we haven't even gotten to the news yet.
We haven't even started.
Oh man, I'm seriously considering like going to the editors and being like, "Yo, can you get some of that pre-banter into the show? Because that was good.
That was good.
That was good shit." Anyway, but the news. Well, you guys want to talk about the news? Should we talk about the news?
We should probably talk about some news.
A little bit.
Then we'll shift gears from whatever the fuck's happening already and talk about some news.
Listeners can have some news as a treat.
Yes. Okay. As they've been good listeners this year. Yeah. They are on the nice list. We shall grant them the news of a Nintendo Switch system update and change.
Ooh.
The 11.0 update is out, and now I am reading it as if it is a Christmas carol. And it's got some cool new stuff. Some cool new features, like a new icon added to the home menu, which is a button that says Nintendo Switch Online, and to the most of my knowledge, that's all it is. That's all it does, which is whatever. Cloud save data automatically backed up, which is pretty cool. And automatically download save data that was added to Save Cloud. Yeah, that's what it says.
Yep.
They've got a new trending page, new trending feature. They can see what games that your like friends have been playing a lot of lately, which I think is actually kind of cool. You can transfer your screenshots and videos directly to your smart devices from your Switch with a cable now, or wirelessly.
That's an about time feature.
Yeah. Because that was a pain in the ass that we couldn't already do that.
Yeah.
10 screenshots at once or one video. And I think it looks like it's saying you got to do, so you can do it either to a phone wirelessly, or you can connect a cable and do it to the computer.
That's definitely useful. It's a nice little feature.
What else we got here? Oh, some new icons. Yeah, we got 12 new icons based off of the Mario Bros. Series, celebrating the 35. You can preset button mappings. You can change your Switch to Portuguese now, and you can prioritize specific downloads if you got multiple things downloading. So, big update right here, but it's not huge. Is there anything you guys would have liked to have seen thrown into this update that is not already present?
More stability, I think.
Well, I didn't mention it, but that is at the bottom of it. Yeah.
Does it fix Mario Maker's versus mode? Or
No.
no,
I don't think
course
anything's gonna fix Mario Maker's versus mode.
Well,
Not even Nintendo.
well, the Brazilian Portuguese is pretty good. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Small wins, small victories.
I would love to see themes. I can't believe we
Themes,
still haven't
yeah.
seen themes.
Yeah, especially because the 3DS did finally get them.
Right. And they were so cool on the 3DS.
They were cool.
You had so much. There were so many that came out, and they were so, I don't know, it just felt like it gave so much personality, you know?
Yeah, and like modders have figured out like you can do themes. It's got support for it.
There's
easily.
really nice themes on modded, like on the modded Switch firmwares.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where like it's not necessary for the game system because like at the end of the day you're just gonna play games, but like it's nice, especially like if you have so many games and you want to show it off a little bit more with a unique style. Like if you enjoy a certain game franchise, you could just have it all themed like that, and it was fun. So like especially the fact that 3DS did have it, that's just kind of like they went backwards on that for sure.
Yeah,
Sure. I mean, even for streaming it, you know what I mean? Like that was one nice thing when I boot up a PlayStation. Like I have like a cool theme that I get to see every time.
yeah. Feels a little more personal.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Especially, which I think is important to like a handheld console too. Like the home console, sure, but like having it on the 3DS, being able to personalize that, like I feel like that's part of the reason they released so many different kinds of 3DSs. You know, you choose the one that fits your tastes the best. Like I'm a diehard Zelda fan. I want the Majora's Mask. I want the Majora's Mask 3DS, or I'm a diehard Metroid fan. I want that one or this one or whatever. Like, it's cool. It's a level of personalization that we really 3 years deep, man. We should have seen it by now.
Yeah, you're right. We absolutely should have.
Is it? Oh, we're almost at 4 years now that I think about it, because 2021 it released in 2017 in March. Pretty wild. Switch has been out for a while. You guys remember watching the Switch announcement trailer at GDQ?
The one with Odyssey.
Yeah, everyone saw Mario jump on his hat and lost their shit.
When he threw that cap, that whole room popped off.
Yeah,
And there was probably like 15 or 20 of us in there.
Yeah, there was
like,
a lot of people.
That room was packed.
It was packed. Was that the same time as Moonmaster, or was that a previous?
I think that was a
GDQ?
previous GDQ from Moonmaster.
But that was a night. Like that was so much fun being around all of our friends to be able to like see the launch of this new Nintendo system. Because it felt like we never really had that. I guess like we've had online launches and stuff, but like typically it's just like, you know, maybe a few friends or you're watching it online. But like when we were all in a room together, there was something different about it, and it was really kind of cool.
Like it's so fun to watch
personal.
a Nintendo Direct, and then it's like people like watching streams of Nintendo Directs because you get to be a part of the community. But when you take all of your favorite streamer, like all your friends, and you put them in, and for the best Nintendo Direct, the new console, it's like we hit the jackpot, dude.
Yeah. Not to take us on a tangent, but bringing up GDQ and how awesome that moment was. Do you have a favorite GDQ memory that had nothing to do with GDQ? Had nothing to do with the actual event, or you know the runs being run, or anything like that, but just like something that went down with the people you were with? I definitely have a few.
Absolutely, yeah. Thinking off the top of my head, maybe not necessarily my favorite, but one that sticks out is a very early GDQ memory for me. Was when the first time I hung out with the majority of you. And we were in the hotel room playing games, and then Pooh and Mitch come back with these two girls because Pooh goes to the girl, this guy was on the Colbert Show 2 weeks ago. And they're like,
Flex.
And they're like so impressed by this. So we got this room full of people, and like there's Buck is there, Jaku's there. I think Taskbot was there for a while, Dwango. And eventually the conversation somehow gets to the topic of my genitalia and the piercing that, you know, was/is present. And this room of people, like co-streamer friends of mine that I've only just fucking met, is like, yo, dude, can I see your dick? And I mean, I'm happy to, you know, in the right scenarios, it's like I like showing it off. It's cool, right? So that's definitely up there for me. Was showing Pooh and Buck and Mitch and to some extent Jaku my wang.
Yeah, I didn't look.
He didn't look. No,
That's so weird. Jaku's favorite memory is also that one.
My favorite memory was him putting his pants back up.
No,
the opposite.
Jaku, do you also have one?
Man, there are so many. I mean, there's and like GDQ is different for me than it is for many. Because like I get into all sorts of shenanigans, like ridiculous amount of shenanigans.
Sure. Oh, I trust. I know.
Yeah, yeah. As you guys know, like why?
Yeah, we know.
Yeah. I guess it has to just be the first one for me. Like that was when I met Pooh and Mitch and a bunch of other people. But like, I'm pretty sure I picked Pooh up from the airport, and that was the first time we met, and that was just like kind of cool. And met Carl and it wasn't Trihex. It was Triwave. Yeah. I know it was W. But yeah, like I met a bunch of people that like I had been talking to for a few months on Twitch, and it was just like this surreal moment where it was like, oh man, all these people are here. This is awesome. So I think just the first one really for now.
What about you, Cliffy?
Man, there's so many just different ones like that stand out in different ways. Like ones that instantly come to mind were like there's a bunch that I won't name, but or just whatever. But grilling a grilled cheese with the flamethrower, with Jaku's flamethrower in the parking lot, was cool and ridiculous. There was also, we were chilling in Average Guardian's room, and we had bought these stupid ass things from Target.
God,
it's like they were like launchers, and I actually took a picture because I was in a Target not too long ago, and they have them now, but they're labeled as like snowball launchers. But essentially, like for anybody who's listening, there's like it's like a Nerf gun essentially, but it's got like a lever in it, and I don't know what you're supposed to put in there. I think it was for tennis ball. Tennis balls, and you like shoot tennis balls out of the launcher. Well, we were putting like pop cans and like the dumbest things in there, and I think Jaku shot a pop can at my toe or something.
Well, I shot it at you, but sometimes it would not shoot exactly how you expected, and so it hit your left foot once, and then like we were doing it again, and I shot it again, and it hit your right foot.
Oh my god!
Didn't we just record a tweet that was like someone shooting a beer at someone, and then you open it and you start drinking it? It was like, cool guy.
That was you.
That tweet exists.
That was
somewhere.
You.
That's somewhere.
Yeah.
And
I
we
think
shot
it
a
was,
phone.
Yeah. We shot a phone. Yeah. Someone shot it, and I pick it up, and I'm like, hello?
Yeah. That thing was insane. The fact that it fits beer cans and soda cans and all that stuff is ridiculous. We shot that pair of sunglasses, and that like it
exploded, right?
Yeah. They flew out of there. It was. I still have one, I think, and there's two versions of it. There's one that has a longer barrel and another one that has a shorter barrel.
Yeah, just memories like that, man. Just like random stuff coming up and happening, and that's kind of like what GDQ is awesome for.
One other memory was Pokemon Go when it launched when we were there, and I think
that's
the
GDQ.
Same as yeah.
That one I didn't go to. I think that was the one before. That might have been the one that you and Pooh came into town for, drove down. That was the first time I met you, Mickey.
Yeah.
When you guys came in to Ross's, and I had met Jaku, but that was the first time meeting you. You were wearing a pink Kirby shirt. I remember that. And Pooh was there, and then you guys were like, all right, we're going to GDQ. And I was like, I don't know what this is yet, but I will.
What do they mean? What is this riddle they're saying to me?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I remember like watching on Twitter, and everybody was like at GDQ, like just as it exploded.
Yeah, GDQ. Man, if only you had joined us for that one too.
Yeah, that's okay. I've been to enough of them and have had more than my fair share of good memories at them.
It was earlier today that Tater sent me a Snapchat memory. I told her to save this video and send it to me come GDQ season 2021. And it's just a video of me, like, obviously, like, drunk. Like, I'm not, like, struggling, but I'm definitely drunk. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, listen, you tell future Mickey in 2020 that when 2021 comes around, you're going for the full week of GDQ. Because I didn't go for the full week. I went for, like, 5 days of the most recent one. And... And then I'm just sitting here like, oh, sorry, past Mickey, we're not going this year. It is not happening, bro.
No.
Yeah.
Good times, man.
That was a good sidebar. I like that. That was a nice walk down memory lane. You guys hear about this new Twitch news though?
Yeah.
That new.
Okay, I know you talked about it a little on your stream, Cliffy, and I'm excited to hear your guys' takes.
Yeah.
Essentially, Twitch is experimenting with something called a new community challenge called Boost This Stream. And what this is your channel will periodically receive a Boost This Stream community challenge thing where your viewers can pool together channel points to unlock boost rewards. And the boost reward will promote your stream to highly visible parts of Twitch on the front page, on the recommended for you area, occasionally in the front page carousel, if I'm not mistaken. I don't fully know how, but the idea is viewer spend channel point, streamer get more discoverability. What are your guys' general thoughts on this? I think it's cool as shit on a surface level.
I mean, my chat has been asking me for things to do with channel points forever, and I've been like, you know what, we'll figure it out. But they didn't realize I was biding my time as well. Everybody was rewarding their communities with cool things to redeem points for. We've slowly been hoarding them, and now the time is right. Total Twitch takeover, Twitch domination. Our community's going to come and just pour all the points into it. And, dude, by this time next year, it'll be top 5 streamer on Twitch.
There you go.
If you get, if it happens, because you don't get to choose when it happens. It just shows up.
Well, we'll be ready.
You'll be ready. And that's something I was thinking about. Like, the idea of how people, like, channel points have been around for what? Like a year now-ish?
A year and a half or so, yeah.
Yeah, a year and some change at least. And... some people have done literally nothing with them. Some people have created like dumb point wasting memes with them. Some people have legitimate interactions with them. But
you like to say do nothing with them. I like to say waiting till the iron is hot.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening. No, in all seriousness, I don't know. I'd like to see how it plays out. And it's one of those situations where I could see like, bigger streamers benefiting off of it more because they have more people in their communities, thus it's more people with more points just in general. It feels kind of like one of those things where like it's going to benefit the top end and not the lower end. And it's like, does the top end really need that? Is that something they want or need?
Well, what if I told you this is that the amount of channel points required will be variable depending on the size of the channel. So a smaller broadcaster, let's say someone who averages 30 viewers, that community is going to require a smaller total of points to get the same benefits that you or myself would at whatever average we're at.
Yeah. I mean, if that's the case, maybe. I've also seen how Twitch estimates things based off of your community when it comes to bounties. So
that is true.
So I know that they're not always the best at that. But what I will say is I'll give them credit for trying something new and trying something different. Twitch catches a lot of flack for a good reason on things that they don't get right. And they'll continue to do that. They're not going to get everything right. But it's cool to see that at least they're trying something new in this way. So we'll see where it goes.
Yeah. I think you have a good point. People are definitely like very critical about Twitch when they make missteps, but I feel like sometimes people are too critical about Twitch when they make good steps. And this, like, I can think of like one or two things about this that I think are like, but the rest of it feels really good because channel points, like Twitch really did need to find a way to make them feel useful. And they've been doing that as people who've been watching Barb lately have seen through, he's been like letting people bet whether or not he beats a level with channel points. And that has added a level of fun for that community. But this is like a legitimate, interesting use. And obviously the API is up now. You can even use your channel points with crowd control at this point, which is another reason for people to hoard these points. Which leads me to another question. And Jaku, I think you'll have some good input for this. Is like, how do you feel about the channel points rewards being now so drastic? Where on one hand, people might be hoarding for community boost, but then they're not using crowd control, or then they're using crowd control, they're not helping for the community boost, or maybe like the streamer has their own caked in, like, the typical, like, I'll roast you for this many things. Like, they're kind of competing for the same pointless, valueless currency for things that actually do have value now. Like, it's not valueless things anymore.
Yeah. So when channel points first came out, like, it was all up to the streamer to create these rewards, and they, they're memey, they're whatever, right? Now that so many applications, and there's that by third parties and a few by Twitch, there's so much more things to spend your points on, and it's like it's kind of hard to really choose what you want to do because they all came at once. It was like it's like a console launch. Like, hey, there's a few things you could do with your PlayStation 5 when you first get it, but you got to wait for 4 or 5 months till some games start rolling in. So it's kind of like, really, Twitch, this is what you're going to do now? And like, I feel like they really took away the thunder from all these devs that finally got access to the channel points API that we've been asking for over a year. And Twitch is like, by the way, we have 2 new things that you can spend your points on. Don't worry about those other third-party guys. They have their predictions that lets you do betting of your channel points on certain channels. And so you can be like, hey, am I going to beat the next match in this game? And your chat can throw their channel points at it and get a pool of those coins back, which is cool. But like, that would have been great to have 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Or on the launch of this. And then you have this thing that is inherently, if it works well, is going to be very useful for streamers. If it actually does scale based on your viewership and stuff, you're going to see a lot of smaller streamers wanting to use that. And they're going to be like, they're not going to want to activate these third-party softwares to give their viewers other things because they're like, I want to be boosted. That's going to make and I'm not going to say it's wrong for them to think that, but I feel like it's going to give them a false sense of like, this is how I'm going to make it. Like, if I can get that boost, I'm going to go to, I'm going to get partner because of this boost. It's like a false sense from it. It's tough. It's just like, Twitch is really bad at like coming out with things in a timely manner, and then they just throw everything at you at once in this sort of thing. And it's like, well, now it's a free for all with all these third-party devs and these first-party activations, which also is a problem. Like, Twitch won't give third parties any information about how many channels a point or how many channel points a channel has. Mm-hmm. Not even individual users' points. I can understand why you might not want me to know, how many points Cliffy has in my channel or xwater has in my channel, but like, I, as a streamer, need to know how many channel points are out there.
Very
in
true.
My channel.
Yes.
And Twitch has that. Twitch gets that because they're Twitch, but third parties can't do it. Streamers don't even get it. And like, I'm not even asking for them to give it to third parties. I'm asking for them to give it to streamers, because how are you going to price your stuff competitively?
You got to know your economy.
How do I know what to set my things at when, like, as dumb as it is, my in-stream currency, I can monitor to see who's got how many, how much are around. If I were to create a mini game based off of them, I know what I need to be setting my prices as because I know how much is out there. Like with money, when you're doing, let's say you're doing a charity stream with donation incentives, I feel appropriate setting this incentive at $10 because I know the value of $10. But how am I supposed to know how many channel points Joe Schmo has in my chat and what number I should set for make me do a cartwheel? Like, is it, if I set it to 10,000 and they have 6 million points, then that's fucking stupid. Why would I do that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's after a year, it's going to be very hard because when it first launched, there was nothing to do. A lot of people were not adding things to their channel points, or they just had funny, outrageous meme ones like, oh yeah, 420,000 points.
Yeah.
LOL. And like, that's great. No one spent those. And now you got people with millions in some cases. It's like, how are you tone deaf on that? Like, you give us this awesome feature, because let's be honest, in-chat currency is a good thing to have, some sort of like bits related thing. But like, not giving insights on it is like the opposite of how you make that work. It just doesn't work.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I struggle with the same thing with, and I have in the past with in-stream currency just through my own bot, my channel, and because I mostly use it for giveaways when I do game giveaways. And like, I have my, I usually have a high and a low, essentially. This is inside baseball for anybody who's watching, normally is in our stream, but it's like, I know roughly where if I want to have everybody be able to be involved, or if I want people who have like been around for a while, and maybe have it so that maybe somebody who just came in today for the first time, isn't able to have as much shot as somebody who's been here for
you want to you want to
years.
weight it towards the people who've supported you.
Sure,
Yeah.
and I do that based on the game, or just how I'm feeling, or essentially whatever the giveaway may be. But with channel points, it's like, who knows? Like, I know you could set it low, so that people coming in can do stuff. But if you've got people who have hundreds of thousands, it's like, okay, well, what's to stop? I mean, they have limits on them, right? You can make it so there's only so many.
Yeah, you can set these filters yourself, but that's just so much more work, and it doesn't solve the problem. It kicks the can.
And there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to have data pertaining to our own channel.
Yeah, I don't think you need to know an individual's amount. If you can get a what should we call it? Just a list of, like, a total number would be fine, but ideally you could have some sort of percentage breakdown, like 10% of your viewers have 1,000 points. One of the big other issues with it, what was it? I had it and then I lost it. Because it's been around for over a year, people have been farming them, and there's Twitch extension, or not Twitch, but there's Chrome and Firefox extensions that will click the button for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, people just, they farm them. And like, I talked to a few people that are like, yeah, I have like 5 million in person's chat. And it's like, that's insane. That would break their crowd control, for instance. If we didn't have the limits on it, that would break, that person would just be able to control crowd control for forever on that streamer. And that streamer would not have any fun, and it would ruin that experience. And then crowd control wouldn't be fun for the other viewers, and that streamer would stop using crowd control. Like, it has the ability to damage a stream that much.
Absolutely.
It just makes you, it puts you in a position where like you're hesitant to use them, because you don't really, it's hard to understand the economy behind it when you don't have that information. So it's like, Twitch, you put out a thing, let us use it, let us enjoy it, but give us the the knowledge to fully do that.
Yep.
Twitch could really have handled channel points in general better. I do, despite like all of the criticisms we've had, I do still really like this boost idea, because it's very outside of the box. It's a legitimate thing that is challenging for streamers. Like, streamers have a hard time getting discovered, especially on Twitch, where the platform, like, talk to any successful content creator, and one of the first things they're going to tell you is like, you're going to stream, if that's your goal, you need to pull in people from other platforms. You got to hit the Twitter, you got to hit Instagram, you got to hit fucking YouTube, TikTok. Like, that's how a lot of people, and I've witnessed, like, we've been around Twitch for a long ass time now. I've witnessed a lot of people who, they have a couple tweets blow up, they start blowing up on Twitter consistently, and they go from being a 10, 15, 20 viewer streamer to being a 1 to 300 viewer streamer because of that explosion on this other form of social media. Even Paladin Amber's a great example. She was like nominated for Content Creator of the Year because she had these consistent, hilarious streams. But if she didn't post that to Twitter, those hilarious quips with her little breaking news segments that she was doing,
the little edits,
right? Then she wouldn't have become the icon she is right now, and she got that growth from another platform. So Twitch is taking an initiative to have some discoverability finally on their own platform, which is so great, so good.
Yeah, and it's again like it's a good feature. It helps visibility for some streamers. And again, like it's not going to make anybody just super successful.
No, absolutely
and
not.
It's another attempt at it. Like it's really hard to get behind the small streamers. Like the whole that whole hashtag, because at the end of the day, the biggest issue with it is like once you are no longer a small streamer, like does your community just leave you then? Because like how do you support them? Where's that break when they go from a small streamer to a medium or big streamer? And it's like at the end of the day, it's a hard job to solve, or it's a hard problem to solve, because like Twitch is a business, streamers are a business. If you're supporting the small streamers, eventually they're not going to be small streamers up top.
At one point, yeah.
But you put the small streamers up at top, right? Now all of a sudden 500 people are watching them. Now they're gonna be at the bottom of the list.
You know what I think it is, Jaku? It's not so much like blanketing support for small streamers across the board. I really think it's just, people they want to know that like the company sees everyone and it doesn't just see the top end, and they want just, even just some way, some avenue to potentially get your name out there. And like maybe that's what
maybe that's a great example of how like the average broadcaster knows that everyone is, the company wants everyone to have a good time streaming on the platform. Like we could argue whether or not affiliate is beneficial or harmful to a streamer who's not yet partnered, but it's indisputable that they've given, like, we all came up before affiliate was a thing, except for me, who got to be one for a solid 6 days. But
ridiculous. You got so dirty on that.
Yeah, I know.
I see what you're saying, Cliffy, and I think you're right, and I think xwater's right with the affiliate is the solution that they came up with for that, because we got to be honest, like the requirements to get affiliate, 3 concurrent viewers, 50 follows, and like
very
20
doable.
hours of streaming.
I definitely have some thoughts on that whole thing as well, just with the affiliate program and all that stuff, kind of like what Mickey talked about. But yeah, no, like even if in addition to that, I think people just want to know that, like, because there's plenty of people who are pouring their hearts out and putting hours and hours into it, and like just to have like some sort of, chance to get recognition before they're partnered is is nice. You know what I mean? And
sure,
I think that's
I definitely
kind of
agree with that. I think one of my issues is that I will go to some of these small streamers and I will see them, and like they put more effort on their tweets of calling out Twitch for not supporting small streamers than they do into their stream.
Yeah.
And like I see a lot of that. But
I think you've said it well in the past, Jaku, where a lot of the times, and I'm not saying, like, I'm not trying to blanket this onto everyone who feels this way and uses this hashtag, but I feel like a lot of the times support small streamers means support me, and I'm a small streamer. Like, you're using that as an avenue to try and get yourself exposure, which is not a bad thing. I'm not trying to say it is, but that's what it means. Obviously, when I was a small streamer, I used as many avenues as I could to get people to support me. I wanted, if your goal is to become a partnered streamer, then yes, you want to rally that support, but how you do it is important. And no matter what size you are, if you truly have good and unique content, that is like the first step. But those are the two things I feel are super important. It needs to be good and it has to be different, unique. Like I can think of like 100 Ways to Die was all like one of the coolest things in the Mario Maker community, Cliffy. People loved it. And
Thanks,
it set you apart. It made you different.
Yep.
Same thing with Grandy Kart, with Grand Keys. And
Sure.
those are aspects of why I developed Splash Bros, because I was like, these guys figured it out. That's a smart idea. I'm going to try and get into that same create my own game of my chat space. And that's literally how I got to partner, was that game.
Yeah.
I
mean, in general, I support everyone regardless of size. You know what I mean? When I go to host normally at the end of my streams, I would say a good 80% of the time, I'm going to the bottom of the stream looking for people who. I'm
going to dispute that. I know 80% of the time you search Cliffy and you find other Cliffys.
I'm not gonna lie, I've done that before. There's another Cliffy who I raid once in a while. But yeah, I just remember. Jaku hosted me when I was a young buck.
Yeah,
and came in and gave that love, and I just know how much that meant to me to get something like that.
Oh, for
and so
sure.
like, I love putting that energy back into other communities, and like, but I'm also not going to just blanket support somebody because they're a small streamer. Like, I've got to enjoy your content. I've got to believe in what you do, or it's got to be entertaining. You know what I mean? And the other thing is, if you're a small streamer, I could bring my community to you, and I'm
it's up to you.
But you got it's up to you. If they don't stay there, right. Like if they're not entertained or they don't come back, not everybody is for everybody, but yeah, it's like there's only so much you can do. So.
Yeah. Realistically,
you
need
a horse to
something.
Water.
Yeah, but you can't make it.
You can't drown it.
Can't. Well, if you're strong enough. Have you been doing your boxing training? Maybe.
Oh yeah.
All right. Horse water. Put that on the agenda.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I love the, like, you find like a small streamer, you raid them, and that like overjoyous reaction. I love that shit. Like, it's so it was so cool when we were there and we got them. It's great to pay that back. And I love looking like in my list and being like, who do I know like from my community who might be on? Who do I know that? Sometimes I'll open up the game directory and be like, who here is like doing this? And
or I look in like Discord. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
exactly. Host back into the people who support me 100%. We'll bring the homies, and half the time the person who's streaming in my community knows like 90% of the people I'm bringing in anyway. So it helps create like a bigger community essentially.
Yeah. Let me sidebar you real quick. So while we're talking about growing as a small streamer, Cliffy, what would you say, like, in your come up from like starting to getting partnered? What was something that you think was important to your success, like a strong key aspect to your success?
Consistency.
That's
the number one thing. If I get asked about like, what can I do to grow on Twitch? What can I do to become? It's always consistency. When I started on Twitch, I was working at Ford Motor Company, working 50, 60-hour weeks. I only did Sunday nights, guaranteed. I tried to do extras when I could get off early and do whatever, but I would always guarantee the Sunday and then say every other day is just, check Twitter and Discord and I'll have bonus stuff. And it's very much, I equate it to like, if you were to go to a store and they have their hours posted on outside, you show up and in their hours say you're supposed to be open and they're not open. You're like, well, I can't trust them to be open. Why am I going to come back? It's hard enough to get people to come back anyways on Twitch.
Yeah.
In general. So like the worst thing I think you could do, one of the worst things, is to start off and be like, I'm going to do 4 days a week. And then people expect you to be there and then they don't. And like, that's super detrimental for starting out. So like, I always tell people, it's the biggest thing. Start small, start less than you think. If you think you can do 3 days, say you're going to do 1 or 2. And then that way you're giving yourself the out. But yeah, that's probably it for me. And outside of that, man, to be honest with you, I've, when it came from my personal story getting partnered, like I remember it was a lot of people helping out and hosting and the friends I had made in the Mario Maker community. You know what I mean?
Community,
I got
big.
Yeah, huge. I got super lucky at that. I mean, I consider myself lucky right now, sitting here talking to you that I'm still doing this 5 years later. But I remember I got partnered in January of 2017, and December was when that kind of all kicked off. And I think Pooh had hosted me with like a super thick, like 1,000 viewer host or something like that. And then like throughout that, like a lot of those people came back and stayed. Like there was there was a large retention rate from that host at the beginning of December. And that kind of just that, and Feeney and there was several other of our friends who have just brought their own communities over and trusted me with them, and they liked what we were doing and the vibe and the atmosphere that I try to create, and it's just, I don't know, I'm lucky.
I think a big part of your stream success came from the sock on your microphone.
I put that sock on there the other day, dude.
Yeah,
it still smells bad.
Yeah, microphone cosplay. Oh, that was good.
Gimmick.
Yeah,
gimmick.
Great gimmick.
You gotta have a gimmick.
Great gimmick. Yeah.
Hey.
It is good to have. Yeah, that's actually really good advice. A small like the fucking Eevees on my chair. Gimmick.
Yeah,
it's a fun little gimmick.
I made cosplays for my mic for a while.
Yeah.
I made them out of felt, and I've never done anything artful, craftful like that with my hands ever. But I was sitting at home going to Joann Fabrics and cutting out and like I got a bunch of different colors. I was like, I'm gonna make a chain chomp.
Chain chomp was the best one, dude.
Velcro and cardboard and super glue or hot glue and this stuff, and it was just like people are like, "Yo, I love that chain chomp that's like chilling on your microphone stand." And yeah, just little stuff like that. It's like you got to have a little gimmick to draw somebody in, but then it's just like, and then you got to hope that the rest of your personality or your gameplay or whatever it is that makes people want to stay, that's the meat of it.
Yeah,
But you got to have something eye-catching.
Yeah. Speaking of a gimmick, Cyberpunk's delayed again.
They've been leaning on that one. It's part of the game at this point.
Yeah, I saw that today.
That must be the gimmick, huh?
When's it delayed to?
December 22nd, according to this source, question mark.
Real close to Crimbler. That's real close to Crimbler.
But no, that's the troll.
I was wondering if you were going to tell him. I was going to let you get away with it.
Dude, somebody's listening to...
I had to own up to it. Just, there's going to be those listeners that are like, wait, what?
Dude, somebody frantically Googling.
Yeah. Somebody is punching air in their car listening to this right now.
Yeah, like, yes, okay, good. I hope I don't cause any accidents. But no, one game that got released today is Dr. Doggo Enter the Glitch.
Yes.
Which is a name of a game that Twitch chat chose. It is also the name of the game that myself, Warp World and Code HQ worked on for GlitchCon 2020 for Twitch. This game had a huge amount of interaction built into it from the start. And xwater, I mean, you were part of that event.
Yeah. I gracefully guided the masses of GlitchCon into their options of how they got to choose the development of the game, I'd like to think that I had some influence in people's votes I kind of did like the whole leading announcement. I'd be like, do you want a force field? Do you want it to be a bomb clear? Or do you want this super cool bomb sword?
Yeah. The bonk sword, man. You gotta go to Horny Jail. We should have thrown that in. But regardless, this game is now out. You can find it at warpworld.itch.io. It does have crowd control integrated into it, which is kind of the biggest news. No download for crowd control required on this one. You just download the game, log into your Twitch through the Warp World platform, and you're connected. And then you activate the extension on your stream, and you're playing a crowd control game.
Yeah. It's super really worth fun. Checking out. Like if you stream or even if you don't, just to like try it, because it's a really cool game. It's like got some interesting weapons. Throwing a jump into like an isometric twin stick shooter was such an interesting game mechanic, because you don't see that ever almost. It was like legitimately something new in the genre, in my, like, as far as I'm aware.
We're the first.
Yeah. Like you've seen dodge rolls. You've seen people do dodge rolls over gaps, but you can like straight up jump over walls, over enemies, over gaps. It's an interesting idea. It's crazy that just a jump is such a like change up in something, but in a genre that's never had it. It's like the first time you jump in Breath of the Wild, you're like, wait, I didn't have to run off a wall to do that, or off a ledge.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a cool, fun game. Check it out. You can play it without streaming, but it's a lot more fun if you do play it on stream.
Yeah.
And that put me on the Twitch Weekly, which was fun, being on the front page, talking about this game and other things Warp World has done. So I saw a few of our fans out there in the chat, which was always nice to see.
The homies.
But yeah, it's exciting being part of all these Twitch events this year, even though there was no real events. Being part of that was fun, and you can go and check it out yourself now.
Yeah, we got the Warp World Takeover.
There you go.
Got some other stuff you can go and check out right now. We've got updates to one more classic than the other, but to two classic games. And I don't know a lot about what they're doing, but apparently Team Fortress 2 holiday update coming. Happy Smithmas is the name. Yep. So all players who play during this event are going to get a stocking with a gift. Contains goodies for good little mercenaries is what I'm reading here. It's got some new maps, some new cosmetics. Taunts. Yeah, some new taunts. A lot of new stuff, which is very surprising considering TF2 is how old now? Like 14, 15 years?
14 years, I want to say.
Yeah.
And this will run until January 7th, I believe. And so, like, it's cool to see updates for Team Fortress. I think there was a big update not too long ago that we covered.
Mm-hmm.
But like this is that kind of broke the mold, I guess, because like they weren't doing updates, and then they did. And then this one, I know Cliffy's super excited about CS:GO Operation Broken Fang.
Yes.
Cliff, what can you tell us about this?
Well, it's really nice that they brought Broken Fang to the community. I know it's something they've been asking for a lot. They came out with Operation Fang a couple months ago, and it didn't come off the best. It was a little bit jank, and they kind of just leaned into it with this new Broken Fang. Yeah, I actually don't know anything.
So Counter-Strike Go has these things called operations, and I believe, because I used to play CS:GO, and I used to do a lot of the operations. It's kind of like seasons, in a way. And this has been, there has not been one in a while. Like, I want to say 2 years, maybe 3 years. I could be completely wrong. I have CS:GO as a subreddit, and I kind of stay up to date, but I have not played the game in many, many years. But it's another operation. It's got some new stuff though. It's got some better stat tracking, which is the big thing. Very detailed statistics are coming in to the game, so you can see a lot of fun stuff. You can see like your heat maps of where you died or where you hit enemies and stuff. And you can get the weapon stats from that. So it looks really cool on a stats perspective. And that's going to help players get better, because they're going to be like, oh man, I really suck at headshots. Like, I'm almost always chest shots, and I need to just aim a little higher, or maybe they're doing the left leg. So that's kind of cool. And like, yeah, the missions were fun to do. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's just nice to see another update, because CS:GO is actually pretty fun. If you want to get into this sort of stuff, but it can get very toxic on the competitive level,
just like any competitive, any hyper competitive game has like attracts that high toxicity level, because I don't know, man. People on the internet just don't like. You don't need to be a good person to be good at Counter-Strike.
Yeah. One of the big things on it though, it did bring 7 maps.
That's a lot.
Features 7 new maps, including a brand new competitive map, Ancient. And Ancient is actually from the original CS days, which was really fun. And
I recognize this.
I was gonna say I remember this map. I haven't played in a long time, but I definitely have played this map before.
Yeah. I don't remember liking it very much when I was a kid, but that's cool. That's really cool.
That was an interesting one. Like, I didn't like it too much as a kid either. I almost was always terrorist on that map, I remember. And like there was the camping spot across the bridge.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. I felt like there was so much elevation on it, which is why I didn't like it. Like, it was that was
one thing I will say
with it.
is it's cool to see these games that have been around for so long, and like they're still pumping their efforts and energy into it, you know what I mean, as opposed to like too often do we find games where they come out and you're like, this is dope, and then the support for it falls off, even though like it's a game you love and will continue to love
games,
for
that's happening a lot more recently.
Mario Maker 2. But yeah, it's really awesome to see like them putting back into it and back into the community and all that. So
yeah,
very, very, very cool for the people who play the CS:GO.
Way to go, Valve! We're proud of you. We're proud of you.
Yeah, I might actually check out this Counter-Strike Go update to play a little bit.
I might mess around with some TF2, honestly, too. Like, it's been a while. I'm very fond of that game. Yeah. I might just see how my old scout's doing.
Yeah, at worst, I might log into TF2 just to get those free items, just because you never know if they're going to be worth something later on.
Exactly. I got to check in and see if any of my old hats are worth like a stupid amount yet.
Yeah, your Apple AirPods or AirPods. Oh, they're not
I had
AirPods.
Those. I did have those, but I traded them. Yeah.
Hey, it was worth something.
I did get like 8 keys out of it.
There you go.
Yeah.
You know what's not worth anything though right now?
What?
Cave Story Plus.
Wait,
monetarily, at least.
What a way to phrase a free game.
I know, right?
It's not worth anything.
It's worth $12.99 Canadian dollars. But for the limited time of right now until December 10th, you can claim it for free on the Epic Game Store. And we don't promote every game that gets put onto the Epic Game Store for free, but this game is really awesome and great Metroidvania. It's just so fun. It's just I love this game. It's got great music. It's got great action. It's got decent dialogue. It's not the best, but all around great time.
Yeah, it's definitely, if you have not played it, download it for free and play it, because it's really good. It's like, I don't want to say it's the original like indie success story game, but it's close.
It is close. Yeah. This game came out like long time ago.
Yeah.
And I remember I played it before they ever had a publisher. Like I was browsing GBA temp and someone linked to this and I was like, I'll try this. And I got hooked and I played it and I beat it. And yeah.
Yeah. It was one of those really early indie games, if not one of the first. Cool. So we got one other segment in news, I guess, so to speak. And this came from Twitter. One, I guess we should welcome. Well, I guess I have to do it, but I will welcome all of the new verified Twitter members that are part of the speedrunning community and gaming communities in general. I don't know what happened there, but a bunch of people got verified recently, and that got some tweets active about, what are the perks of being verified on Twitter, and we have a special little verified tab, so any notification we get from other verified users is easier to find. And I shared a story about the time I went to the airport and I forgot my ID. I had my wallet, but not my ID. I remember it falling out, and I just didn't realize it the night before, so I didn't put it back in. And I'm running late already, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't have an ID. I can't go back to my house. So I go to the TSA agent. I'm like, hey, I don't have my ID, but I am verified on Twitter. And he's like, good enough for me, and let me through.
That's
now,
so sketchy.
It's super sketchy. Now, this is one of the times where I had multiple flights in terms of I had to go to one place and then to the next and then back home sort of thing. And so I had to do it again at the next airport on my way down to Florida.
I would have been worried getting on that plane.
Yeah. Well, so the thing was, I was only at the one location for a day. And so I told my friend, I know where my ID is. Please go to my house and mail it to me in the Florida address that I'm going to be at. They're like, okay, sure. So again, I'm in Pittsburgh, I think. And, I go through the same process. I'm like, hey, I don't have my ID, but I'm Twitter verified. And the best part about this, if you look at my Twitter, it's a cartoon avatar. And it worked. And so, but down in Florida, I'm like, there's no way I'm going to get out of Florida without an ID. And that's why I had it sent down there. Now, the issue was they would not release the package to me without an ID.
Oh, my God.
But this is where it gets.
Oh, my God.
You thought it was already insane and impossible. This is where it gets to the next level. It just so happened that because, I knew I didn't have my ID and I was down in Florida, I had a friend that was living in Georgia at the time that I invited to come down and hang out with me. What's special about this friend is that they have the same first and last name as me. And so they showed their ID. They showed their ID and got my package so I could get my ID.
I'm mad that you made fun of me for hosting somebody who has the same screen name as me. You're out here recruiting friends with your same name.
First and last.
Just in case you got to get on a plane. Yeah.
We shared frequent flyer numbers and hotels and stuff, and we had so many points.
What else have you shared? Take us down this trip.
I think they were both married to someone for a little while.
Yeah.
They go to the doctor. One of them goes in 1 year, the other one goes in the next.
Yeah, I'm on their health insurance. It's super easy. But no, just that entire story is just ridiculous, and that's a perk of being verified, I guess.
I mean, if it got you through 2 airports, that's kind of crazy. One time I got almost into America using a picture of my passport.
Oh,
which is pretty dope. Yeah,
that is pretty dope. What year was that?
It was one of the years I went to Chicago for New Year's. I don't know if it's the one where I first met up with you, but one of those years.
Yeah. You're breaking the streak this year, my friend.
I know,
but it's not your fault.
I broke it last year anyway.
Yeah, that's true. But we
Yeah.
didn't have to worry about that. But yeah, the whole photo passport thing, I could see that. Like, that seems fair, especially because
Yeah.
they could look it up if they really needed to.
Right. Like, I had lost mine, and I was like, listen, I know you guys probably won't, but I have to try because I already got the booking for the room. Can I come in?
Mhm.
They were like, yeah, don't do it again, but sure.
That gives me like the reverse energy of trying to get into the bar with a ticket. You're like, listen, man, I just got a ticket. I don't have my license. They're like, nah, Doug, ain't getting in. This is like whatever end of the spectrum that was. That's the whole other end for y'all.
Right. It's a
Yeah.
it's a fucking bar. They're like,
It's
sorry,
a bar.
bro.
It
Yeah,
doesn't matter. You're clearly 28, 29. Like, it's not even a question. You don't look young. You're like,
Yeah.
I got a ticket. Nah, Doug.
No.
Not gonna happen.
Can't do
Not
it, dude.
tonight.
Can't do
And
it.
here the border's letting an illegal in, and then we got me going through airports. Ridiculous.
Jaku
But the
and I
bar,
just roll
that's
a little
what we
luckier
need.
when it comes to those crit charisma score rolls.
We need bouncers at our borders and at our TSA.
That's
They're-
right. And
they-
then get the TSA at the club.
Yeah, exactly. That would be a win for everyone, I think. I
The
don't
security
know.
level would finally be appropriate for each respective area.
Yeah, bouncers really do act like it's like the biggest deal in the world. Although at the same time, I had a friend that literally found an ID of a 40-year-old Asian man, and my friend was a 19-year-old white kid, and he used it to get into the bar. The guy looked at the ID, looked at him, was like, "All right," and just that was it. Looked nothing like him.
Oh my goodness. I
So
tried
just-
to use a fake ID when I was, I think, 18 in London, Ontario. The age is 19 here. And then
Yep. I know.
the guy knew. The guy knew right away, and he started grilling me on every question. I was getting him right. I was getting him right. And then he gets to birthday, and I stuttered on the year. I was like, 1989, 1988. Like, I said it just like that. And
Yeah.
he's like, all right, I know what's going on here. You want this ID back? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I don't have to give it back, but I'm gonna just get the fuck out of here. I was like, fine.
Yeah, that's nice. Like,
Yeah.
that's
It was nice of him to give the ID back
Yeah.
because it was the ID of a friend of mine who was
That's-
actually with us.
oh yeah. Did they do the whole pass back thing or?
No, they did. Like, they had two separate pieces. They gave
Oh,
me
okay.
one. They were using another. They were just letting me go first in line because if I didn't
Yeah.
get in, we were going to try somewhere else. So
Right. And like, I think that's one of those things like everyone tries, and like that bouncer knows that,
yeah, exactly.
and like you can't be that jaded. You got to be like, okay, if I was you, I would have done the same thing.
Right. Yeah.
You almost passed, but
When I was 20 in New York and I got in everywhere, me and Steve were at like every club together. I did do front of line, he'd do back, and then we had
Uh-huh.
all our friends in the middle. I'd walk in as Steven, and
Oh.
then he would walk in as Steven. And obviously, I'm not going to fuck up these details. We got the details. We got the same last name. I know his
Yeah.
birthday, everything. Nobody
Mickey,
said
didn't we-
shit. I got in
Did-
easy every time.
Didn't we have to get you in somehow at in Chicago not too long ago?
Yeah, at
this-
when we went to
Yeah, after Lala.
piano bar because
Yeah,
I didn't.
I won't say the name of it because
Yeah, I didn't have the I didn't have I had a sleeveless shirt that's against their
Yep.
policy.
Yep.
It was 2019.
You can get on a plane with a verified Twitter handle, but you cannot get into the bar with a tank top.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
Not
why we need
allowed.
that guy working at TSA. And get the TSA
Oh.
agent who saw Jaku's animated, not even fucking paper Jaku was
Not
like,
even
yeah, this checks out. God damn, dude.
Those guns were too much. You can't bring guns into the club, Mickey.
I probably could. All right. Um, yeah. All right. Let's. You know what? This is all fun and games, but honestly, I was a little hot today, and I'm getting hot again just thinking about it.
If anyone has the right to be hot on this one, it's you. Go off. Go off,
This is-
King.
All right. This is gonna be our hot take.
Hot take.
Google Stadia is in the news again.
How'd they fuck up this time?
Well, this one's pretty interesting here, Cliffy and xwater.
Oh, please.
Google Stadia recently announced and showed off two of their new features that they've been working on for for a very long time, about a year for Google, called Crowd Choice and Crowd Play.
Oh.
Crowd Choice gives your crowd the choice to affect the gameplay.
That sounds cool.
Yeah,
That's a great idea.
Crowd Play gives your crowd the ability to join a queue to join games to play with you.
Wow. Wow. Surely that has to have been done at some point in the past.
Why did nobody think of this?
Maybe, but this isn't even the hot take. The hot take is it ethical for Google to keep doing dumb shit with Stadia just to get on this podcast?
I mean, come on, Google. It's desperate at this point.
You could just pay us and we're talking about Stadia. But no, okay. So the real hot take is like, what the fuck, Google? I'm sorry, but like, there is no cool take on this. But if the tables were turned, if Crowd Choice was out for the last 2 years and Warp World, a very small company from 10 individuals or so, came out with crowd control today, there'd be a cease and desist no more than 3 hours before our announcement.
Yep.
Like, it's just ridiculous.
It's a bite. It bites the concept, which is like kind of fair. It's not like something that no one was ever going to do. Interactivity with letting the audience affect it, sure, but it bites the name so ridiculously hard.
Yeah. If they came out with, Stadia suggestions or something, great, cool. That's on brand. That's you. That's fine. But Crowd Choice is just so fucking close to crowd control that anyone is going to make that mistake. And
they have to know who we are. They do. If they develop this, they have to. The developers have to be in the loop enough to know what crowd control is.
Yeah, there's no way they didn't do a Google search, which is their own fucking platform, and was like, we're going to type crowd in and see what comes up. Or, it's just, yeah. So at the end of the day, like, I get it. Google is a big company. They don't speak to each other. Like, a lot of people spoke to me and are like, do you think this is why you can't get access to YouTube things to do crowd control stuff? And it's like, no, I don't think that, because like, that would mean Google's competent and is actually talking between departments and stuff. And there's no way that went on. This is just Stadia taking a shit on an innovative company that's much smaller and using the power of Google to just silence us, because it doesn't matter if we're trademarked, because we can't sue them, because they could just bury us in costs and fees for years and years and years. So like, at the end of the day, we can't fight it. The only thing we can do is social media dunking, which their own tweet about Crowd Choice has less likes than our tweet making fun of them. They have 250,000 followers on Twitter. We have 30,000. Like, it's one of those things. It is very upsetting to see, because like, we're the small guys in this, and we've had a good run. We got to announce a game with crowd control implemented from the start to finish, built into the game today, which was going to be a momentous thing for us, all to just get shit on by Google's Crowd Choice platform. And I'm not even going on after them on Crowd Play. Like, Crowd Play is great. That's a fine name, I guess. Still kind of close to crowd control, but Crowd Play, like, that's multi-queue. That's literally multi-queue, but with the integration into a game, which is something we've been trying to do. I'd
like to ask a question.
Yes.
Would this hurt more, or hit harder, if this was from a console or platform that is going to be around longer than 6 months or a year from now? And I know that sounds like a shot, but it's very serious. Like, if this was Nintendo or Sony or Microsoft coming out with something similar, does that hurt more, or does that lessen the blow for you, knowing it's Stadia?
Yeah. So I think Johnny said it best. Someone forgot to tell Stadia that you actually need a crowd for this thing to work, and
got them.
They don't have that right now.
No.
Obviously it depends on the streamers and all that, but
they're like trying to do the wave, and there's nobody in the crowd.
That's so embarrassing.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
But everybody clap their hands. It's the band asking for the clap, and nobody's clapping.
New Year's Eve event last year.
Yeah.
Try to get people to dance with them. Come on, do the floss. But yeah,
I don't even feel like I feel bad for him on that one, honestly.
yeah, I do feel bad for Ninja on that one. He was put into an amazing situation, but not the right crowd for him.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's really upsetting for us. It being Stadia, yes, it lessens the blow, Cliffy, because like you said, it's probably not going to be around for a year. It does make my job easier explaining to developers or potentially investors and stuff, because this is going to be big news because it's Google. And so when investors are like, oh, what's crowd control? I'm like, oh, it's like crowd choice, but been out for 2+ years and has actual users using it.
And legitimately, like, just straight up unbiased better, because theirs is, it goes off of polls. Ours has this in it, like, really deep system where people can individually do things in real time and have it process.
And we might have polls by Monday. I don't know.
Yeah. We might have them by the time people hear this shit.
Yeah. That's the other thing, though. It's just like, you're right. Like, they just have polls. Like, what you all do with crowd control is just exponentially better and different. Like you said, unbiased, just matter of fact, it is a better product. So it's like, but I don't blame you for being like, what the fuck, Google?
Yeah. If it was not called crowd choice, if it was some other word, 100% they'd be fine. But the fact that it's just so close to our name and belittles us in that way, we're powerless to do anything about it. We got our community behind us. We have over 500 likes on our tweet, which is amazing. To see the support from our community really helped, like, I guess, soften the blow. And like, that really got me through the rest of the day. Cause like, after seeing that, I was like, I don't want to do anything today. And so like, seeing our community come together was really nice. And so like, thank you everyone that follows crowd control on Twitter, liked that tweet, and help support us, because we are trying to do something really fun and unique and give back to Twitch and others. And we try to get to YouTube, we try to get to Mixer, we're trying to get to Facebook, but there's so much going on behind the scenes that these companies are just going to be like, we're just do our own thing and steal it.
Apparently,
so it's upsetting, and it makes me very hot.
Definitely bailed on the "don't be evil" motto they used to have.
Yeah, Google's definitely different. And like, that's the other thing is, like, I saw a tweet from somebody like, I'm going to stop using Gmail and Google search. And I'm like, hey, I appreciate the enthusiasm. I'm still going to use Google search.
Yeah, I need to find my shit.
I need to, but yeah,
I'm
at
sorry,
the end of the day,
Bing, but you're just not there, dude.
Yeah, or DuckDuckGo and all that. But like, I appreciate that. And like, it means a lot that people even say anything like that, even if they don't necessarily do it. It just means a lot, though. And you need days like that. So thank you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna start using the Warp World search engine.
Nice.
Oh my god!
Every link is just gonna be a picture of
just
a
Jaku.
Random Mario Maker calendar pic.
Warp World search engine. Our motto will be: do less evil.
Some, just less than the others. Yeah. An appropriate amount of evil.
Let's take this back. Let's cool off with some nice side questions.
All right.
I need to.
Yeah. This is my favorite part of the show lately. We've had such good
nice
questions.
wind down.
Yeah.
All right. So again, if you want to send a side question over to us, where myself, xwater, a guest, maybe Grand Pooh Bear, anyone could really answer it. Maybe we have a goat on. Who knows? Not that Cliffy's not the goat, but a real goat. You can email us at podcast@warp.world.
Yes. And the Warpies are coming up. So if you got category suggestions or general ideas about it, inquiries.
It's the hottest award show. Now, Cliffy and I may have an Emmy, but does Cliffy have a Warpie?
Yeah, best shoulders last year.
Yeah,
exactly.
Last year. Yeah,
he remembers.
Who was so mad about that last year?
He was so
livid.
mad. Oh my god. So yeah,
dude, screw the EGOT. I got the WeGOT. That's what I'm going for.
Oh my god,
yes.
We got to go for that. That's great. That's a smart idea. All right. This question comes from Bodega Kitty. Since xwater's on this whole 3D Mario damage list saga, it made me wonder, what is the most far-fetched goal that you've ever publicly announced to either your audience or friends, and how long did it take to accomplish it? What motivates you to set far-fetched goals in the first place? Example, novelty and fame, or just for dumb points?
Mine is
Cliffy's got
Sleeveless
an answer.
2019.
Yeah. I'll give you some time, Cliffy. I don't tend to do this.
Oh, I don't need time. I'm shaking my head. I know why.
Yeah, okay,
Go ahead.
But I don't tend to do anything like this. Like I guess my goal now is to beat xwater in a boxing match.
Yeah, you shamelessly challenged me to a fight at next year's TwitchCon.
But I don't normally do anything like this. Like, my things are very sporadic, spur of the moment. And it's like, I'm gonna go do this for the novelty of it. And the fame may come afterwards, or the likes and stuff. But like, most of my stuff is just off the cuff, like, oh hey, let's go do this real quick. I plan things, but not that sort of stuff. Cliffy?
Biggest one I've committed to and done would be beating Space Pig's Area 51 and Mario Maker. It's the hardest Mario Maker level I've ever beaten. It took me 41 plus hours. I have it up on my YouTube. Ridiculous level.
Yeah,
but committed to it. Took many, almost 2 weeks worth of streaming, if not more, and just committed to it because I said I was going to do it, and I did it. The big one is Hyper 6, easy, bar none.
I thought it was going to be the blindfold run at GDQ.
Yeah, Hyper 6 is just ridiculously hard, and it's painful hard. It's not hard in a good way. It's hard in a bad way.
Mm-hmm.
I'd kind of put it off, but I am gonna go back to it, and I almost went back to it this past week, but I had a rough day in the middle of the week, and but no, Barb was talking shit on stream the other morning, and he was like, "See, I told everybody that Cliffy wouldn't do it. He wasn't going to do it, and nobody listens to Barb." And I was like, "Fuck you, Barb."
No one listens to Barb. Everybody listens to Barb.
Everybody listens to Barb. Yeah.
Let's see.
And fuck that. I'm gonna get back to it, and if only to prove Barb wrong, and because I said I was going to, and for a couple other reasons. But
to prove
Dreading
someone
it.
wrong, that's a great reason to set a far-fetched and follow through with a far-fetched goal. Yeah, to clown on someone else, for sure. For me, the reason behind them is the reason behind Sleeveless 2019, it started out as a personal challenge. And despite how stupid that sounds, doing something every day or like for a whole year, like keeping to a particular rule, is a test of willpower. No matter if it's like brushing your teeth every single morning, going for a run every day, or not wearing sleeves. And I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to test my willpower this year. So that was what I was going at with that. I just also kind of like doing stupid shit. I like the reaction it gets. I like the smiles it puts on my face.
The dumber, the better.
Yeah, that's what I always say.
I don't know if I 100% agree with willpower and sleeveless shirts, but I'll give it to you.
Okay, that's fair. There's room for debate.
I think like committing to something for a full year's something that has willpower, but like it being sleeveless shirts, I don't know. But you committed to it, and
I did,
and you did it. So it's a good goal if you can achieve it. All right, we got time for one more. This is going to be from Upper 90. Good evening, gentlemen and guest host. Last week, the Barb King was working on his 100% playthrough of Super Mario Odyssey and commented that while the game was his favorite title on the Switch, going for 100% completion felt tedious towards the end. This got me thinking, what are the key aspects of a game design that make a 100% playthrough an enjoyable experience? Is it the quality or quantity of tasks, the overall difficulty of completion, or perhaps the end reward? Which games do you feel executed the best design for 100% gameplay, and which ones fell flat? Thanks again for all the great content.
That is interesting. Odyssey had a good 100% in my mind, despite obviously getting a little repetitive at the end for Barb. But in my mind, because Odyssey at its core was a game that encouraged exploration to, like, the more dumb shit you did in the level, like sit next to Sad Man on bench, the more moons you found. And and the game itself controls and plays more smoothly than any other game that exists, in my opinion. And I think that is why I would like I redo the 100% every year because I think it's so fun. It's kind of weird though. Like, don't you guys feel like a lot of games, like when you 100% them, you're just like, it kind of starts to suck?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's not really a lot of games, and like it's more of a problem with newer games because like Link to the Past 100% easy. You know?
Yeah, very
the main thing,
manageable.
Yeah, I would say 100%. Like the only way to truly unlock 100% of that game is to beat it without dying. Otherwise, it's 99.9%. But even that's easy, really.
Yeah, once you get 10 hearts and 2 bottles, you're fine.
Yeah. Well, you can't use the fairies to die though, because it counts as a death. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, well then just keep them filled with red potion and be smart. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, at the end of the day, like it's mainly a problem with like newer games. I feel like because there is just so much. Even Ocarina of Time with the Skulltulas or whatever.
Yeah,
they weren't.
That's a pain in the ass without a guide. Fuck that.
Yeah, there was a lot, and it was a pain in the ass, but not as many Korok seeds. So it's just like it seems like games just pad it now, and so it just makes it tedious. So I don't know if there's a good answer for this.
Yeah,
Cliffy, you got anything?
For me, I mean, like, if there's only a very small amount of games I've ever 100%ed, and it always starts off with me just loving the game and really just wanting to be in that world and like move around in that world and experience and like just have that experience more. And then oftentimes like it will, like you said, it can get shitty. Like I actually just recently went back and played Jak and Daxter, the first one, for because I'd gotten it to 98% when I was younger, and then I had a tragic somebody deleted the save file, but whatever. But going back and playing it, I really loved it and loved playing in it. But then it just got to a point where I was like going back through levels trying to find, certain little items and stuff, and it just got tedious. But I think it starts with you just loving the game, and for you to truly be like, yeah, that was a lot of fun to do the 100%. It does come down to, I think it's not really quantity, it's more quality of tasks.
Yeah.
Because like I've done other ones. Vice City is another one I 100%ed when I was young. I actually just 100%ed Astro's Playroom, which was amazing, and that game was so fun on PS5.
Yeah,
and just being able to walk around and play in that world, and like the game made it super easy to like travel back, like quick travel to each like zone to unlock what you needed to unlock. Checkpoints were there. Like it made the accessibility to get to the spot to do it was really easy, and made me want, in addition to just wanting to do it anyways, it made that 100% really, really fun.
Yeah, quality of life features for sure.
Are a big thing. Because like you got to go and get the stuff anyways. At least make it easy for me to put me in the position to do it. But yeah,
Absolutely.
as far as I can't think of ones that were really, like I said, Jak and Daxter waned a little bit, and Spider-Man I think was another one.
I was gonna bring up the latest Spider-Man 2. Yeah, that game. I didn't 100% it, but I did so much of it because it was such a fun game, and the swinging around the city was so fun that you didn't mind. Like you could fast travel, right? I believe you could.
You could. I was gonna go the other way with it. I loved playing it, wanted to 100% it, and then got to like 98% and just said screw it because the combat just got so repetitive.
It does,
and especially against, I forget the name of the faction, but they're like the white armored. Like
the late game faction.
Yeah. They're just like, their health was so, they were so tanky that it just like took forever to fight him. And it was just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I would say Mario 64 was also a good game to 100% because there wasn't really that much. There's obviously more stars, but like the goal was fun to see Yoshi and get all the lives and the special sparkle jump. Like that was one of the first times where like you're like, oh, there must be something to unlock at 100%. So that was kind of neat.
That's a good example.
Yeah.
By the way, I just want to throw this in there for anybody going out there. If you consider 100%ing Jak and Daxter 1 the worst 100% alternate ending ever. I'm like, I went back and did it, and I was like, I don't know why I was mad all those years, because, and spoiler alert on this 20-year-old game, when you get 100% in Jak and Daxter, there's like all the precursor orbs go into a door. The door opens. You don't see what's behind it. There's just glowing light, and all the characters like, ooh, wow, that's what was behind it. and then it ends.
Is that like Pulp Fiction?
And I was like, "Are you kidding?"
That's like
That's
Pulp
what
Fiction with the suitcase.
Oh, I hate that.
Can you imagine?
Another good game though, and on the N64, GoldenEye 64. If you beat every single level on Double O Agent, or whatever, yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yeah,
the hardest one. You unlock like a secret mode that lets you go back to those levels and like adjust the AI and the firing rate and all this fun stuff. And then obviously all the cheats that you unlock for beating the levels. And like that was one of the first games I 100%ed because it was difficult, but it was fun. And if you had a cartridge, if you had an N64 cartridge with everything unlocked, you were the coolest kid on the block, even though like half the cheats didn't matter. But yeah, that was probably the first game that I 100%ed.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of like early 3D games had great 100% because, and even like SNES era, like going in and doing 96 exit of Super Mario World, getting the special worlds and it reskins the game and everything. Like even that was cool. It's later games, these later like adventure, big like Assassin's Creed and Ghost of Tsushima and all this stuff where there is so much content in the game. I feel like they're almost not even designed to be the funnest 100% experience, but instead designed to be a game that if two people do their playthrough that's not 100%, that they will have different experiences where
like Witcher 3, you know what I mean? Or
exactly.
or Cyberpunk for sure is going to be like that.
Yeah, these kinds of games where
Cyberpunk's canceled. Like it's not even delayed now.
Oh, it's canceled now. God.
Yeah, it's canceled.
What a development. A lot going on in today's show. Yeah, no, the reward is good though. Having a good reward is something that makes it feel better. And that sucks that Jack and Daxter sucks. Mario Sunshine's 100% reward sucks too. You get a different postcard. That's it.
Ugh. Yeah. It's like, oh my God, just make it awesome.
Just make it awesome.
Just give me a new game. If I 100% it, let me play another version of that game.
Dude, if I 100% it, unlock a little TV inside the game, Animal Crossing GameCube style, that lets me play Excite Bike or some shit, you know?
Yeah.
That should be in the 100% of every Nintendo game. They should have a secret way to play Mario Bros. 1 if you 100% whatever game you're playing.
That'd be fun.
That'd be so cool.
One other thing I think that a lot of games could do, and it's a lot of racing games do it, just like mirror the maps and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Reverse tracks, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be weird, but like that wouldn't be that hard to do for a lot of games. Some games it might not work on, but a lot would.
I've never played Twilight Princess in non-mirrored mode because every time I've played it, it was on the Wii or it was the hero mode of the Wii U version, which they flip it. So, never played that game regular style.
Yeah, yeah. That was a wild like way to do it. Just because most people are right-handed. Okay, makes sense.
Right. I don't even think they had the option on the Wii to switch to left-handed either. Like
nope.
They could have like just flipped it back, right?
Yeah, they could have, but they didn't. All right.
Yo, before we get out of here, are you?
Yeah.
Either of you playing Cyberpunk?
I'm not.
No, neither.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm actually.
I think it looks cool. It doesn't look like anything that I need to be on day one. With how saturated I know it's going to be on Twitch, I don't want to like try and fight for any viewership with it. And that's fair. Also just know that like there's games that I think that any streamer knows they're just not good at streaming. And I've come to accept that those long form, deep, tons of dialogue, cutscene, action, story games like The Witcher, Skyrim, stuff like that, Fallout. I stream those and I feel like I have no idea what I'm doing. I've forgot everything I know about being a broadcaster.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like it's interesting because like it seems like again that would be right up my alley, but I'm not excited. I might get excited once it's out is probably what it is, but we'll see. Sometimes
it takes that.
You playing it day one, Cliffy?
I am, and I'm gonna get it on PS5. But I'm
this guy.
It sucks because the PS5 version of it isn't going to be out for a while. So like part of me, like I know
I thought it was a global release for
the whole point of the delay was that it was supposed to be a simultaneous release.
Yeah. You have to look this up now.
I'm going to find it for you right here.
As far as I know, the PS5 version of it was coming later. Now maybe it's going to be at launch day, but I've heard that it was going to be you would just get the additional PS5
Cyberpunk
upgraded stuff.
2077 will be released on Thursday, 10th December 2020. It will be available for PC, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Google Stadia, boo, Xbox, and Xbox Series S and X consoles.
It's available on PS5, but it's the PS4 version, I think.
Weird.
Weird. It's not going to have like the ray tracing and that kind of stuff, the upgraded visuals and that stuff. Now I believe that. That's as far as I know.
Okay.
Which I hope that's not the case. I hope that it is the full version. But if that is the case, that kind of gets me bummed out because I'm like, I want to play this day one, and then if you're going to add all this stuff in later, I am right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks. I'm seeing that as well. Yeah, we're getting PS. It will release first on the PS4 and you'll get the PS4 version, and it'll free upgrade for you when the PS5 version comes out.
But it's like, am I going to be halfway through this game or 3/4 of the way through this game when now look, everything looks better and runs better or whatever?
Let me ask you this though. Like, when you think about a game and the times you had, do you really like nitpick the memories because the graphics weren't as good as they could have been, or do you?
Absolutely not.
So play it on your PS5 with PS4, and then when it upgrades, you're like, cool. This is a nice bonus.
I will.
I can see being a little annoyed about it though. Like if I'm going into a game knowing I'm getting not the version of it that I want. Like if it kind of like if I was going into Pokemon Shield, but I wanted to play Pokemon Sword, which is a pretty far out there equivalency, but you know, like you walk in with one expectation and what you get is in actuality a little bit different. Sure, you still have a good time, but it's fair enough to be a little annoyed at that.
It just means that
you can be annoyed. I think that's fine, but
it's so slight. You know what I mean? It's my super minor thing. It just means that I'll have to go back and play through one of the other storylines later to get the full full experience.
Yeah,
cool.
Okay, so before we go into the final part of the show, I just want to say that even though we got no more time for more questions, Manic T's start to his question is hilarious. He goes, "Hello, burger, fries, and water."
That is pretty damn good.
That's good.
That is really good.
Yeah, Manic T had the best intro of all time there.
Do we want to? Is that stuff that we're working on, xwater, is that starting next week?
No, it is starting on the Friday of next week.
Okay.
So
we'll save it then.
Yeah, we can save it. Yeah,
we'll save it for Thursday.
Secrets. What are they talking about?
Yeah. Thank you everyone so much for listening. Obviously, give us all the 5-star reviews on anything you can, unless it has up to 10-star reviews, then give us those.
Yeah.
Don't forget to check out our Patreon, patreon.warp.world. Don't forget, we do have some merch. We got some Cliffy merch up there right now. Merch.warp.world. All right. We don't actually have Cliffy merch. And then, obviously, thanks so much for listening. Share this podcast with a friend or an enemy. Doesn't really matter. Share it.
Yeah. Okay.
Bye.
That's the show. Bye, everybody. Cliffy, thanks so much again for coming on. You've been a fantastic. You've been a fantastic co-host. Yeah.
Awesome.
Always a good time. I still remember the Mortal Kombat episode we did of Historians. That was one of my favorite. We had great, it was just great chemistry, great times. It's a good show.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love you. Love Mortal Kombat.
A lot of love going around here. And we love our listeners. The episode is done.